So today with me I have the brand new Kia Seltos, and what we are going to do is something a little unique. I am currently at Speedworks over here in Bangalore, and we are going to put both the petrol as well as the diesel car on the dyno to see how much actual wheel horsepower these cars make. A disclaimer over here is that most manufacturers, when they claim their power and torque numbers, they are all numbers of the horsepower at the crank, and there's always going to be a little bit of drivetrain power loss, and the wheel horsepower is always going to be lower compared to what their claim number is. So don't be surprised over here, but what we are testing out is how efficient that drivetrain is and how minimum those power losses are. Only one way to find out is to head in there and put the car on the dyno. Alright, so while we are setting the dyno up, ideally if it's a good engine and a good powertrain, we should expect around 20% power loss. That's kind of normal. So let's say if it's a 116 horsepower car from factory at the crank, it should make close to about 92, 93 horsepower at the wheel, and if that number is there, then the powertrain is pretty decently efficient. So that's what we're going to find out now. All right, fans are on. We're good to go. Alright, so we have the numbers in for both the petrol as well as the diesel. Let me start with the diesel. The diesel put down 108 horsepower and 236 Newton meters of torque, while the petrol put down 156 horsepower and 265 Newton meters of torque. Okay, now for the petrol, this is actually surprising because we've got two consistent runs which are producing more than 155 horsepower. Now the company claims that this car produces 160 PS of power, which means it is 157 bhp. These numbers, what you see over here, 155 and 156 bhp, are at the wheel, while the company is claiming 157 bhp at the crank. Usually there's about an 8 to 10% power loss at the crank, which means that this car is actually producing more horsepower than what the company has claimed. If I do the reverse calculations, then this car is currently producing around 168 to 170 horsepower on the crank, while putting down an absolute of about 156 horsepower, which is about 10 horsepower more than what the company claimed. Also, the other surprising thing for us is that we were actually considering this car to have about 10 to 20% drivetrain power loss, which generally is what happens. But to our surprise, the actual powertrain loss on both the petrol as well as the diesel is approximately at 8%, which means that both of these engines and the transmission is actually very, very efficient.